Hey everyone, Captain Amazing here, and today we're going to go over my 3v3 Grand Arena. So if you like this content, go ahead and like and subscribe. So let's jump into it. So my opponent is S-Cub and Ritter der Hollanus. He's 9.4 million GP, 5.7 in characters, 3.7 in ships. He has a good amount of time played, almost 30,000 galactic war battles, which means he's been playing for 7 years. He has 6 GLs. He's missing a few of them, so Leia and Rey. He does have only Executor at 4 stars, so I have a definitive fleet advantage. So he did put Traya, Jabba, JMK, Grand Inquisitor on the front wall. On the bottom wall, he put JML and Lord Vader, and some other teams, Malgus. So I went with Traya for my first team. I just wanted to knock out those 4 GLs on the front wall first, because that's going to define whether or not I can actually get through my opponent. I believe my opponent did attack first and cleared just my ground side and left my fleets. So I have to get the full clear on the ground to be able to win. So I have to get through these GLs. So my whole goal with Traya is to at least take out the sides. That's my number one goal, because if I take out the sides, I can easily come in and take out JML. This is going pretty well. This is my core counter for JML. Sometimes I'm able to take out JML, and it's going pretty well. He's not gaining a lot of protection. I'm just going to work down Jedi Knight Luke right now, and then I'll just have to deal with Jedi Master Luke. And Traya's actually surviving pretty decently in this one. There's a few times where I'm a little worried, but at this point it's just JML, and I wasn't too worried. I thought I had a pretty good chance of winning, and then all of a sudden he just went beast mode and started killing everyone. So he did ramp up his damage. At this point, I think it took me a little too long to take out the sides, and then he was able to ramp up. So normally if I can survive with Traya, Vader, and Savage, then I'm able to take out JML. But unfortunately this time I wasn't able to, and it ended up just timing out on me. But if you can tell, like, this Savage isn't going to go through this JML. If anything, JML over time would just ramp and probably kill Savage. But they're pretty evenly matched at just looking at each other. You know, JML just doing his hand waves and everything. So not too I was pretty disappointed with this, to be honest, because like with all 3 of them surviving at the end with JML and the sides being gone, usually that's a win condition for me, and I win. Sometimes it's Datacron dependent, because my Traya is only gear 12, and I wasn't able to, so I can't put my own Datacron on there. I think if I take Traya up to R3, this would be a more reliable counter, but you know, it did what I needed it to do. All right, so I decided to use Fennec against Lord Vader. I have to put Armor Shred on Royal Guard. That's a pretty low relic Royal Guard, but still, I still have to drop some Armor Shreds on him so that I can work through him, because in 5s I can disintegrate him, but in 3s I just have to work through the entire team with Fennec. So I make sure on Grief I'm cleansing as much as I can, and on BAM, whenever I get the opportunity, I put the damage immunity on Fennec. So I do work down the Royal Guard, and it's just Piet. Piet is pretty weak, so 2 hits with Fennec and he goes down. So if you notice, I'm having some pretty bad luck with the timing of the invulnerabilities for Fennec, but it ends up winning in the end. 52 banners, not perfect, but hey, a win's a win, right? So I went Imperial Troopers against Traya. So it was only an R1 Savage, and I thought I would have the ability to punch through this. But right away, I noticed, like, oh no, I made a huge mistake here, because I'm not able to get through that Savage. Like, I'm just not able to. I was hoping that I would be able to take down Traya and then save Savage for the end. But this was a clear failure. I decided to start working on JML, Jedi Knight, or CLS is the perfect counter to kill a solo JML. It's really reliable. They have great survivability, high tenacity, so I can easily work through this. They do some health percent damage. They keep him controlled really beautifully. So I just blow through him with absolutely no problem with this. This is my go-to for taking out a solo JML. So it's cleanup banners. So I decided to use Rey for Malgus. I don't have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. I do now have Ben. So now I have Ben's for 3s, and this just, it makes it a lot more reliable because I don't have to worry about survivability as much. I have a lot of wiggle room here as far as being able to survive, and them not just like burning down my sides. So that's nice. It gives me some armor shreds, not a big deal. Most of the damage Rey is doing is true damage. So I decide I'm just going to go for Malgus first. Unfortunately, I keep hand waving with JTR, and that heals Malgus. So I was just trying to take the taunt off him. But it was pretty annoying at first just because he healed so well. But with this alt, I'm able to just get through him or get through the sides as well. And then at this point, when it just being Malgus, it's not going to be an issue. I'm just going to... I just have to wait to an alt or a whirlwind, and then I'll get through him. So I just have to remember not to do the hand wave so he doesn't heal up. But it's at this point, it's an easy win. Not perfect banners. It's always messy, but Malgus is a really strong character, and it just requires a tough team to take out. So I decided to use bounty hunters here. I was worried. I do have the no revive cron, so I can take out the Tusken Raiders. So I was worried about this because without Traya, and Traya is a super reliable counter for that, I had to use something well. So I didn't want to. I'm trying to save Malik for something else, so I didn't use the Malik solo here. So I decided to use Darth Revan with Set, and then that gave me an easy win for that. So for Jabba, I'm going to use SLKR. SLKR is a good counter for Jabba. It's super reliable for me. I probably should have cleansed that since he has buff immunity, cleansed the buff, and then I could have gone straight for Bush. But I ended up waiting a little bit before I did it, so I took off that buff, and then now I can go straight for Bush Leia. And then once you take out Bush Leia, it's a super easy win here. So once she's gone, I'm super confident that I have this in the bag. There's absolutely nothing Jabba or Chrysanthemum can do to SLKR to take him out. So at this point, I'm just going to ramp and then kill Jabba, and it's an easy counter. It's my go-to counter for 3s and 5, just because SLKR works so beautifully against Jabba with his ramping ability, and it's an easy win from there. All right, so for JMK, since I don't have SLKR, because normally if they don't put Jabba and JMK on defense, I'll use SLKR on Kenobi because it's more reliable with Daka Zombie. But with this one, I wasn't too worried. They didn't have the no revive cron, which is the only thing that makes Jabba kind of a risky fight. So I decided to go with this. There was some times where I was like, this could go definitely wrong. But there's the survivor, and now I just have to burn down Kenobi. JMK has tons of survivability, so I'm just trying to get him out as quick as I can. So after he goes down, I'm going to go straight for Ahsoka. So she's resisting everything. I think it has to do with the protection up mechanics. I'm not entirely sure. They don't have tenacity up. Maybe she just is a high tenacity Commander Ahsoka Tano, but she resisted like almost all of my bombs. So if you can see here, it's getting a little worrisome, because if they take out Bush, I'm in trouble. But luckily I got my ult just in time, healed up Bush, took out Cat, and after Cat's gone, it's in Kenobi's just out in the open. He's really not the GL he needs to be. He lifts Cat. Cat doesn't lift him. So after Cat's gone, this is an easy win, max banner win. So little risky, but ended up pulling it out in the end. So for Traya, I decided to use Malgus. So Malgus, Malik, and the Sith Marauder is actually on GAC Insights. It's 100% a win. I probably should have done this instead of the Imperial Troopers, but I was worried because I just don't have the teams to go through this guy. This guy is a much bigger account than I am. So I'm trying to stretch out my teams. So if you notice, I didn't use the life drain on Malik when Traya had a lot of protection up. I tried to wait until her protection up was at nothing, and then I used the life drain so that I could kill her. So that's just like the best tip for this is just, don't use the life drain when they have tons of protection up. So for this, Dash on Chewie is the GOAT. They easily take out a lot of teams. They took out Grand Inquisitor for me with absolutely no issues. This team is just fantastic. So First Order absolutely is a wonderful team. So people sleep on them, but they blast through this with no issues. All right, so now we have the back wall. The back wall wasn't too troublesome. The problem is I'm running out of teams. Like I just absolutely am scrounging for teams. This was a gear 12 Iden, a full gear 12. I decided to use my R5 Wampa just because I didn't want to underestimate it. Plenty of people drop on Iden when they underestimate her. And if I didn't use Wampa here, I would have to use something like Star Killer or Jedi Knight Luke to take her out. So I felt like it was better for me to just go with Wampa, which is a really reliable counter, and then I would have to figure something out for the Mon Mothma on the back, but this was great. So Mon Mothma, I decided to split up my Star Killer team because I just don't have teams. I don't have teams. I'm running out of teams. So I went with an Empire team here. Even though this is a pretty good Mon Mothma team, my Mara Jade is much faster than their Kyle Katarn, even with his bonuses, and I just absolutely obliterate that team. So Trench is off the bench on this one. So I decided to go with Jedi Knight Luke, Jolie, and Hoda. And Trench doesn't even take a turn. I just absolutely destroy him. Now I just have to get through Nute and Jango over here. So a little worrisome with Jango, just because if he takes out one of my characters or Jolie, I can't revive. So Jolie was at an inch of his life right there. So very worrisome. But I'm able to just work through this team. After Jolie survives that, I'm able to get my health back somewhat, recover some banners, and then I just have to burn through this Jango. Not the perfect banners, but a solid counter. So First Order TIE palette with Phasma lead, I decided to go with Jedi Knight Revan because I can mark First Order TIE pilot and just burn him down. He ends up surviving that. I have to take off the buff on the Stormtrooper, and then I'm able to just burn him down. So this is a team with great survivability. They have great recovery, and I'm able to get pretty much max banners here. But it was a good counter, I think. This team wasn't that great, but it's still something that can be troublesome. So I had to split up my Star Killer here. So I went with Darth, Maul, and OG Kylo just to take out this team. If you sleep on this team, it could sometimes, especially with crew, you never know. Like sometimes if you don't have the right counter to take out crew, it can really mess you up. So I had to like really spread my teams out just to take that out. So I did get the full clear on grounds. Now I have to take out his ships. So Chimaera, Home 1, and this Executor. So with Executor, they had a pretty irregular lineup, and I did have some pretty bad RNG on this. So They take out my Thai enchilada. I'm able to still control the Houndstooth, luckily. So I'm waiting for Xanadu Blood to get off of stealth. I come in with my First Order SF TIE pilot to just control Bossk. Now I'm going to turn over some turn meter over to Kylo Ren to get him to take out. So now Xanadu's blood's down. I'm gonna control that slave one. I tried to basic here, and he resists. Like, he resists the stun. I was absolutely dumbfounded. That's why you see me kind of like taking a second to think about it. But I'll bring out I'll bring out the car ship, and then I'm just gonna have to like deal with bad RNG here. So at this point, if my team dies, I'm kind of in trouble because this is still a fully functional fleet here. So I do get buff immunity on Houndstooth. I burn him down. I looked at the turn meter. It wasn't enough if I would have pushed turn meter to get a turn for my TIE silencer. So that's why I just gave him the turn directly instead of pushing turn meter for the whole team. And with just the BAM left, I can burn this down. So really bad RNG on this fight. But luckily, I was still able to get the win with 65 banners. So not bad. So for Chimaera, I went with the Malevolence, and this is a really good counter. I'm able to control the TIE Bomber before he does burning, so I can just burn him down since he has 3 stacks. Now I have Buzz Droids on everyone. The Palp's ship goes down, and then I bring out my Spy and an easy 70 banners, super clean. So I use the Chimaera on home 1. Pretty much this is why I say don't put home 1 down as a defensive fleet, because anything, like literally any fleet with the TIE Bomber can cheese this fleet, like absolutely cheese it. It's not even a threat. If you put the Radis down, at least there's some RNG where you can lose, but with having a counter that one team can absolutely just wipe out the whole enemy team and stop everything. It's not a good defensive ship, but it's a good offensive ship. So if you have the home 1, just take it on offense, don't put it on defense. So let's see the final score that we have here. So this was the final score. It was an absolute knife fight on ground. I was able to go in and clear the GLs. So Jabba, Traya was a difficult JMK. Shaak T wasn't an issue. I thought she might be, but First Order just absolutely dominated her. And then the front bottom wall wasn't an issue either. He did get some holds, so JML got him in hold because he ramped and then was able to take out my Traya counter, but my Traya counter is only gear 12, so Traya is gear 12, so it's reliable. I was able to go with the Fennec counter for Lord Vader, and the rest of these Malgus I was able to use my Ray. So overall, really happy with what happened here. His back wall wasn't an issue. I cleared his fleets, and my fleet advantage is so strong on this player that he didn't even have an option to defeat my ships. So he knew with my full clear, there's nothing he could do because he couldn't take out with what he had. He couldn't handle my Executor. He couldn't handle my my Leviathan. Maybe my Radis he probably could have taken out easily, but there's not enough banners there for him to win. So that's how I won against this massive account. And this is why I preach that you have to farm your mods and your ships. This account was over 2 million GP than mine. He beat me in GLs. I just had the fleet advantage, and I took advantage of that fleet advantage by going all on offense, clearing his 4 GLs with off-meta counters and my own GLs, and then going in and beating his fleets with off-meta counters, and then having my meta fleets on defense, which he absolutely couldn't clear. So that's my overall Grand Arena strategy, and that's how I've been holding in Kyber 3 pretty reliably. I don't think I have the GLs right now to climb into Kyber 2 and 1 because I only have 3 GLs, but as I continue to develop my account, I think I'm going to start building some great competitiveness towards climbing and being more competitive in that nature. All right, so if you like this content, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and take care.